speaker today is Sean Nina Lotze.
Hi guys. Thanks for your time and thanks for allowing me to speak here and hold this space for a while, Roger. Thank you for inviting me, and also thanks to Sarah for setting up this entrepreneur social. Yeah, Sarah's been working at the Green School before that and doing a lot on sustainability. Did the sustainable solutions and has been running some great events, and now here. She's an awesome girl. It's my girlfriend. So yeah, PT Mantra. So I went back to Germany in 1998, and I guess I grew up here as a foreigner and mixed in between the cultures of growing up in between the Balinese and the Desa and being German, going to an international school, and then when I was 16 I went back to Germany, and the only thing I ever could think of was, how do I get back to Bali? And that's basically where it started to form, where we started to, I had to go through school, and then I had to do my university degree and my master's, and during my bachelor's I was already studying in international management with a focus on Indonesia. So I was invited to the embassies and learning Indonesian and connecting, and basically was being trained to become an international consultant on a high level with the government. I worked in waste management in 2009. I did a project in Temesi, which is in Gianyar, Temesi Recycling, and started researching and understanding that there's a lot of problems in waste management, especially in Southeast Asia, and as we all know, also in Bali. And from there, I wanted to continue to build my knowledge, and I went to Germany again, and I did my master's in sustainability economics. And then I worked together with several institutes and did research in the Philippines and in China, and worked with UNEP. And during that research, I had a really key moment for myself. I was with the Minister of the Environment in the Philippines and interviewing him for a research project. And was asking him just about the environmental problem. And he said to me, I have 1 million people under me. And if I could get that 1 million people to just dedicate 1 minute of their time and day to the environment, I'd have 1 million minutes every day. And I realized, I was like, wow, that's like, what's 1 million minutes mean in like work? Or like, give it an hour, 1 million hours, like how substantial is that? And he said, all we do is give recommendations. He said, I get recommendations from the United Nations. This comes as paper. I read it, and then I translate it for the other ministers and for the people that work under me. And then they have to make something of it, and then it has to go to the people. But it never really results in any progress. Everyone continuously destroys the environment and actually just focuses on themselves, on increasing their well-being or, their money and personal gains. And this is what's in theory known as the tragedy of commons. And it was then that I realized government might not work. What's the point of me flying around and doing all these conferences and writing all these papers and doing all this research? We're only giving recommendations. And then those recommendations have to get translated. The Millennium Development Goals have to get translated. They're only a recommendation of what we should be doing. But do we do it? Not necessarily. So year after year, I came to Bali, and the beaches look like this. Every rainy season, when the first rain hits, the island flushes out. All the trash builds up throughout the musim panas, and there's the high season. We all have a huge party year after year again, and have a great time, and everyone makes a lot of money, and all the trash goes into the rivers and ghats, and it's on the sidelines, and then the first rain hits and it goes into the ocean. And no one's doing anything. We have overdevelopment and corruption. We've got massive resorts and big deals being done, and lots of swaths of land being sold off. This is in Nusa Dua. This is the Mulia Resort, which is part of the Winata Corporation, and that used to be like Geger Beach was one of the best beaches in Bali. We used to go there every Sunday. It was amazing, and now it's just empty hotel rooms that aren't even rented out. And yeah, we just were stressed growing up here. So for us, it was like, what can we do, and how can we actually create something, some kind of a progress, something meaningful for ourselves. And me and my two partners, we realized, okay, there's three big issues which we can tackle. You know, we're three people, but at least we can make some practical progress together, we thought. So energy, water, and waste, those are the three biggest issues which we tackle as a company. And we realized that tourism is the biggest stakeholder and our biggest source of income. And we also realized that from the top there's a recommendation from the United Nations and the World Bank to improve the energy sector, to improve the water and the waste sector. And what we have come up with is that the statistics office that you find in Indonesia is actually completely off. So the BPS is our local statistics. And it actually just consists of a few people that are making assumptions. That it's not even cross-referenced, or the statistical analysis is false. In a sense that waste management, for example, in Bali we have 4.2 million Balinese, which are local here. So they use that from the villages, because it's from the village count of people living in the villages. And then they say times half a kilo roundabout waste per day makes about 2 point something kilos per day. But we have 5 million foreign tourists coming in, plus we have 12 million people coming in through Lombok and Java through the ports. Down to 6. So there's this like a factor 10. We're producing 10 times more waste than in the statistics. So how are you going to plan a waste management facility if you don't have the right numbers? The same goes for water. We don't know how much water is being extracted, and we've realized that most properties, because they don't want to pay taxes on their well and the amount of water they extract, they register one well but have 3. Some properties even have 5 wells. So the statistics office is getting this data. It's just saying this much water is being extracted, but it's actually 5 times more. And we have droughts in Tabanan, we have droughts in Karangasem, Gara, there's big water problems. And the data is false. So we're like, how can we help this? And we understood this, so we started this quest for data. And in the beginning, we went to all these resorts and we said, yeah, we're going to build an interface that brings together more accurate data. We'd like you to participate in our program. And if we can take your data from your hotel, how much you consume, and if you make that open to us, only us, we won't say who it's from, we can start collecting the data from all the resorts, and then we can cross-reference that data with what we have from the statistics office, and we can make a more accurate picture. So we wanted to pitch this to the Hotel Association. That was our grand scheme and plan back then. We quickly realized that they don't care. And that we could go to these hotels and tell them all these great ideas, but then they would say, well, that's great, boys, but what's in it for me? And we came up with, so we met a friend, and Sarah introduced me to Steve Piro, who does synergy efficiency. And he does basically saves energy for a property and then takes a portion of the savings. And we then we adjusted our pitch, because we had to create value for the GM, because he has to bring it back to the vice president or the board, and they have to say, well, does it make financial sense? So in selling them savings, we adjusted our pitch, went in there and said, well, we can save you $100,000. And they said, well, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, and then we tell them about optimizing their ACs and reducing their water consumption and changing their appliances and changing their hot water system and maybe changing over to renewables and all these technical solutions, and that they pay back under 2 years. So after 2 years, he's increasing his profits. And he's like, oh, where do I sign? Right? So we had them, and we had a proven business model, and that happened about 2 years ago, where we finally found how to access a property and create immediate financial value for the client. So that's what you call a quick win. Something that he can easily sell to his superiors and makes him feel that he's progressing and achieving his target within that year. So we give him something that really just makes financial sense to him. And then after that, we sign an NDA and an agreement, and we get access to the entire property. And we collect data. And we've been doing this for 2 years. We have about 20 properties in our portfolio now, and every property is feeding data into our system. So just to show you guys some success stories of what we've done, we have Waterbomb, for example, where we save them 763,000 kilowatt hours a year, and we save them 17 million 0.8 liters of water a year. And we reduced their waste to landfill by 70%, which is 73,200 liters. All of this resulted in 755 million rupiahs financial savings for Waterbomb. And they're really happy. We did the same with the Viceroy, Ayung Resort, the Alila properties in Ubud. We did the Ahimsa group, and we're looking at a few other properties now and groups, and obviously we're starting to make a name for ourselves. So the GMs understand that we can create value for them. The vice presidents like it because it increases their operational efficiency. And we generally can contribute to the bigger picture because we're collecting more and more data, which we then can use to make better decisions and help people in the future. So this is our successful business model, and believe me guys, it took lots and lots of years of trial and error and trial and error and trial and error, and keep pitching and then changing it, optimizing, tweaking, and then redoing it again, and building on every small success that we've had. I think this is the journey that every startup goes through. So I have the great benefit that I have really cool partners. So if there's another thing that I can say is that you have to work as a team. I think more in a bigger context, and I like to conceptualize and bring together like all the little components. But then I have Maitri, who's a numbers guy, and he's really smart at mathematics and modeling. He's into geosciences and astrophysics and hydrology, and he's awesome. And Wayan is an engineer. He does research and development, and he tests all the different technologies that we're going to apply to the property, and he's in the field. He's been building in Bali for over 5 years, and he has a big network of suppliers and people that can deliver solutions and help. So he's really hands-on and in the field, and our field marshal. I do the business development and the conceptualization, the sales and the marketing, and Maitri does all the badass science behind all of it. And together we're Mantra. So we have a research group with the university here, Udayana, and also we work together with Polytechnic. So we're pulling in the students from the university, and we do internships. We try to do about 5 to 8 interns per year, that we give a case study and we give them a specific task to solve. We have Dion from TU Eindhoven here, who's working on waste management. He's doing his master thesis on the Merah Putih Hijau project, which I'll tell you guys about in a second. We're working with Surya University in Jakarta, and also Jacobs in Bremen and Oldenburg. So we're creating this network with the universities to really pull in some really awesome people. And it's so surprising for me, generally working with the Indonesians. Anyone that tells you that the Indonesians don't get it or something, they haven't worked with the new generations, because they're so smart and they're so hungry and they're so after a really good knowledge and want to grow their passion, their skill sets, and they don't want to be waiters, they don't want to be service personnel in a hotel. They want to work in science, they want to work on programming, they want to build applications, they want to do really complex problem solving, and they can. And we have to give and create those opportunities for the new generations. Like, we can't just build restaurants all the time. Like, we really need to innovate in Bali. And so we have one principle in our company, just to round it up. We said every one of us has to engage in a passion project. And we've decided on two. So we have one is the Bali Water Protection Program. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Has anyone heard of the Bali Water Protection Program? So they're doing bad marketing. And the other project is Merah Putih Hijau. Has anyone heard of that? The village waste management. They were doing better marketing, yes. We on both of these we engage with the desa, and we work together with local stakeholders. With Merah Putih Hijau, what we're creating is locally owned waste management that's owned by the community, by the masyarakat, by the desa, and not given to the TPA, not given to the pengepul and the pemulung, but actually keep the facility inside the desa, because the value of all of the materials that we're throwing to the TPA is actually $1 million roundabout in 15 years. Yeah, if you have 700 households, what we've estimated, it's around $1 million in resale value. Right now it's going into the bin and then going to the TPA and causing a problem. If we create facilities, we can manage that. We have to separate at the household level. So dry waste goes in one, wet waste goes in the other. We use the organics and wet waste, turn it into compost for the subak, and we work together with the Bekase, and he loves that he gets all this really good juicy compost for his rice fields, and everything else is clean and we can sell it. We can shred it, we can make bricks, we can use plastics for fuel, we can sell them. Everything can be sold. There's maybe 5% of all that we has to go to the landfill and the TPA, but the rest we can create value. That then goes into a fund, and the villagers can vote every 6 months what they want to spend the money on. They can buy a pool table, or they can do or something like this. But the principle is that the village owns it, not some kind of a government project, but the village has a physical asset that's theirs, that creates value for their community, for themselves. They manage it themselves, they monitor it, and they benefit from it. This is what MPH is. Bali Water Protection Program is a research project. That's maybe why not many people know about it, but we're just helping them raise funds. I think we've gotten close to $100,000, and that goes to Polytechnic as well as a research team and a few NGOs to do a very thorough analysis of Bali's aquifers. And what's happening is that in the bottom areas, we have so many properties sucking out water, and hundreds of thousands of liters every day. So there's an imbalance. And what happens is that then the ocean water pushes in. It's called saltwater intrusion. And we're losing all the beaches because of that. If you ask the engineer in this hotel, I bet $100 the water he's pumping up is brackish. It's salty. It's not sweet water. And that goes up all the way the coastline. So what's happening is we're extracting too much water from the aquifers and not putting enough in. So the ocean water is pushing in, and we're destroying the aquifers in the long term. And it's really, really benefiting the long term. So right now it might be okay, but the quality of our water is going to continuously decrease, and the quality of our aquifers too. So they are creating a map, and then what they want to do is they want to build recharge wells, $1,000 a pop, where we can channel rainwater that we lose to the ocean right now back into the ground to help the recharge the aquifers again. So these are like two projects where we put ourselves behind. We call them passion projects, and they're meant to take up 10% of our time. They take up probably 30%, but they're worth it. And I think we strongly believe in improving Bali's environment. And we totally stand behind that. So we have what's called the Eco Toolkit. I think I explained that before. This is collecting data from the properties. It's kind of on idle, so we're just collecting data right now, and we haven't rolled this out because, as you guys maybe know, when you're in a startup, there's not enough time in a day. And you have so many things that you're doing, and the reality is that you have to make money, you have to pay your bills. You have to have a successful product, You have to keep readjusting that product and your pitches, and you get lost in so many ways. Right? But so luckily in Bali, we have co-working spaces and friends and networks. People, we keep meeting amazing people, and they keep bringing us to the next level. And it's a great journey so far. These are our clients and projects. Just groups that we've been working with, and at the bottom you see our knowledge network and the partners of universities that collaborate with our company, and some of the solution partners that we've been working with. And that's it. Yeah, guys. Thank you.
On this optimistic note, we're going to finish Q&A session. We actually expected it to be shorter, but it's like 1 hour, and it's one of the most successful events here. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me the time.
Nina, you're awesome.